Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we're going to review the historical evolution of community. Basically, we're going step by step to review the milestone that impacted the development of community in human society. And as you might imagine, communities have a long history, almost as long as the modern Homo sapiens. Um, our historical journey starts from there and ends with the internet era. Why so? Well, we start from the ancient times because human knowledge and social structures are built upon historical foundation, layer by layer, and you will see this through our examples. By examining early communities, we gain crucial insights into the patterns, principles, and evolution of human social organization. We study the past to comprehend the present and plan for the future, learning from past success and failures, and recognizing that our current communities are part of a long, rich continuum of human social development. Moreover, the ability to create communities is considered to be the crucial element that allowed Homo sapiens to become the most powerful species in the world. And we're going to stop with the internet era because from there on, many things change, and Joe will guide through that. So let's start. So, development of language and memes around 7100 before Christ. So, crucial in enabling early humans to overcome and hunt large beasts like mammoths were coordination and organization, which relies on the ability to communicate clearly and precisely, and this is made by language, and to share a common purpose, which we call meme. I guess it is quite clear to us what language is, whereas I believe we should spend a few words on what a meme is. So consider this. Wolves can hunt in groups too. They communicate and coordinate. But as far as we know, they fail to plan and pursue a goal that is not driven by their basic instinct. Thus, they are not able to share memes. Simply put, a meme is an idea, different from a basic instinct like hunger. I'm hungry, I need to hunt. Okay, let's take the idea of freedom. We can all easily imagine what freedom is. However, if we attempt to define it, to describe it through language, we might encounter thousands of different definitions, some quite distant from ours. So, the freedom meme represents the idealization of something that has not a precise definition. Nevertheless, people around the world are willing to strive for freedom no matter what. So, politicians, revolutionaries, dictators, and more broadly, leaders can mobilize large masses of people, each a stranger to others. They do not share anything in common, perhaps, and even ask them to die in pointless wars. Just using a meme, they will never have to describe freedom. So they don't need to describe what sort of freedom they are promoting, they want to bring to these people. You just call it freedom, and you picture it in your mind, and you just strive for it. So when designing your community, think about the meme your community portrays. So the second crucial step is the emergence of art and religion. The Paleolithic era marked a significant leap in human social organization and collective identity, the we identity we discussed last week. Early religious practices, such as burial rituals and cave paintings, suggest that our ancestors began to ponder existential questions and seek meaning beyond immediate survival needs. This shared quest for understanding created a powerful bonding mechanism within groups. Art allowed early humans to externalize abstract thought, creating shared visual languages that could convey complex ideas and emotions. Together, art and religion formed a powerful mechanism for group cohesion and identity formation. A painted bison on a cave wall wasn't just a record of a hunt, it was a shared story, a teaching tool, and possibly a religious icon. The introduction of the sacred provided shared values that transcended individual interest and was presented as symbolism to cover up the lack of verbal expressions. Thus, they were representing a meme that we discussed before. This was crucial in fostering cooperation beyond immediate kin groups. The idea of divine judgment or karma encouraged pro-social behavior, facilitating trust among larger groups of unrelated individuals. Religious leaders such as shamans or priests emerge as community focal points, often combining spiritual authority with practical roles like healing or conflict resolution. This development laid the groundwork for more complex social hierarchies and specialized roles within communities. This is a very crucial step. So, to learn more about the role of early art and religion in community formation, check the model docs. The third key milestone is the development of writing around 3,000 years before Christ. So, 5,000 years ago. It revolutionized human communication and community organization, allowing for the precise recording and transmission of complex ideas, laws, and histories across time and space. Before it was only verbal, so it was passed by. Now it's written. Everybody can read it years and years after. So early writing systems such as Sumerian cuneiform or Egyptian hieroglyphs emerged primarily for administrative and religious purposes, reflecting the needs of increasingly complex societies. Writing enabled the codification of laws like Hammurabi's Code, which standardized Writing enabled the codification of laws like the Hammurabi's Code, which standardized societal norms and expectations across large populations. It also facilitated the preservation of cultural narratives and religious texts, strengthening shared identities over generations. The ability to record and disseminate knowledge led to the emergence of specialized scribal classes, further diversifying social roles within communities. Moreover, writing allowed for long-distance communication, enabling the coordination of larger political entities and trade networks. This expansion of communal boundaries fostered the development of broader communities by identity, united by shared texts and records, even when members never met face to face. In essence, writing became a powerful tool for expanding the scope and complexity of human social organization, laying the groundwork for large scale civilization and more abstract forms of collective identity. Think about being part of an empire, like the Egyptian, without ever moving further than 10 kilometers from your birthplace. Fourth, the invention of currency. 2000 before Christ, so roughly 4,000 years ago. Early standardized form of currency solved the limitation of barter systems, which was, how many apples for a horse, how many horses for a boat, and what kind of boat, what kind of horses, what kind of apples. So currency enables more efficient and diverse economic exchanges. This innovation allowed communities to grow beyond local resources constraints and facilitated the rise of specialized professions. Currency provided a common measure of value, standardizing the worth of goods, services, and labor. So, how many apples for 1 hour teaching? Its portable nature enabled wealth accumulation, creating new social hierarchies based on economic power. Currency also fostered long-distance trade networks, connecting isolated communities and promoting cultural exchange. The shared trust in currency value created new communities by interest and practice, transcending local boundaries. Fifth, this is not an event, it is more a specific period in human history. And it's that period of time that spans from the creation of city-states and Greek polis to the creation, the expansion of the Roman Empire. So the rise of city-states in Mesopotamia and in the Mediterranean introduced the idea of urban citizenship, where individuals' identities were tied to their city rather than just to tribal affiliations. So the Greek polis, exemplified by Athens, further developed this concept, introducing direct political participation for citizens. These new communities by identity were based on shared governance and civic responsibility, rather than just common ancestry or religion, or even just, being in Athens. Even outside of Athens, you were, member of the community. The Roman Empire then expanded and formalized the concept of citizenship. And here, perhaps, the difference between community by identity and community by place is more evident. Because this concept of citizenship was eventually extended across its vast territories. This created an unprecedented community by identity that transcended ethnic and geographic boundaries. Rome's extensive road network physically manifested this interconnectedness, facilitating trade, communication, and cultural exchange across the empire. These roads weren't just infrastructure, but channels of ideas, languages, and shared imperial identity. This period marked a significant leap in the scale and complexity of human communities, laying the groundwork for modern concepts of nationhood and global interconnectedness. Sixth, it's something we previously discussed, but now it hits uh, higher values. So, the rise of world religions. World religions marked a pivotal shift in human social organization, creating vast transnational communities united by a shared faith. Religions like Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism transcend ethnic, linguistic, and political boundaries, offering universal narratives and moral frameworks. These faiths provided a sense of shared identity and purpose that extended far beyond local communities or empires. For instance, a Christian in Rome could feel a connection with fellow believers in distant Syria or Egypt, despite never meeting them. This created imagined communities on an unprecedented scale. Religious texts and rituals served as common cultural touchstones, fostering a sense of unity among diverse populations. Moreover, these world religions often developed sophisticated organizational structures, like the Catholic Church, which sometimes revealed secular authorities in power and influence. And as Italian, I know this very well. Nevertheless, pilgrimages and religious scholarly networks facilitated cultural exchange across vast distances. The concept of universal divine law also challenged and sometimes superseded local customs and royal edicts, reshaping social norms across continents. In essence, the rise of world religions fundamentally altered how humans conceptualize community, introducing the idea of global fellowship based on shared beliefs rather than shared territory or ancestry. Now, number seven, a quite peculiar one, and actually my favorite one, is Sabir. If you're asking yourself what it is, it's the Mediterranean lingua franca. Started in the 11th century and it evolved till the 19th century. So, imagine following the fall of the Roman Empire, Latin became less and less used in everyday communication, replaced by old and new local dialects, and then national languages like French, for instance. People, especially traders, thus lacked a common language, a lingua franca, a vital tool for cross-cultural communication in the diverse and bustling Mediterranean world. Sabir combined Italian, French, Greek, Arabic, and Spanish elements and developed organically, meaning it developed by itself. So people were just, trying to build a way to communicate a new language. And it developed to meet the needs of traders, diplomats, and travelers from different linguistic backgrounds. Unlike formalized writing systems, Sabir was a fluid and adaptive language that reflected the dynamic nature of Mediterranean societies. Thus, it evolved from the 11th to the 19th century. It changed a lot. It facilitated the formation of a unique community of practice among merchants and sailors, transcending national and ethnic boundaries. Sabir enabled the exchange of ideas, technologies, and cultural practices across vast distances. It empowered individuals and groups to participate in a broader Mediterranean economic and cultural sphere, regardless of their native tongue. It fostered the development of cosmopolitan port cities where diverse communities could interact and collaborate effectively. The use of Sabir created a sense of shared identity among its speakers that existed alongside local and national identities. This linguistic tool played a crucial role in shaping a transnational Mediterranean community, united not by political borders or religious beliefs, but by the practical necessities of communication and trade. Sabir exemplifies how a common language can empower communities to overcome barriers, fostering cooperation and cultural exchange in complex multicultural environments. Today, English serves a similar role in Western societies and global trade, Russian in former USSR societies, and Arabic in many Muslim societies. Number 8, medieval guilds. This occupational association revolutionized the concept of professional communities, creating powerful networks based on shared crafts and trades, standardizing training methods, ensuring consistent quality, and preserving specialized knowledge across generations. Guilds are excellent example of community by practice. Nevertheless, they also function as communities by interest, advocating for the members' economic and social welfare. Also, as strong communities by identity, with members deriving a significant part of their social status and self-image from their guild affiliation. Also, as community by need, as aspirants in a trade require guild membership to practice legally and advance professionally. And last but not least, as community by place, since guild members often concentrated in specific urban quarters, shaping the physical and social landscape of medieval towns. Think about street names in medieval cities. Medieval guilds demonstrate how professional organizations can foster multi-faced community identities, blending economic, social, and cultural elements to create powerful, enduring social structures. They laid the groundwork for modern professional associations and labor unions, showcasing the potential of occupational communities to shape broader societal norms and structures. Number 9, something you were probably waiting for, the invention of the printing press. So, Gutenberg, 1440, it revolutionized the spread of information, ideas, and shared narratives, profoundly impacting community formation and interaction. It enabled rapid distribution of specialized knowledge, fostering the growth of intellectual and ideological groups, or communities by interest, across vast distances. The press empowered communities by identity by allowing minority groups to communicate across borders and time, strengthening collective consciousness. By democratizing knowledge, it challenged existing power structures, empowering access to information previously restricted to elites. This shift had profound implications for social mobility and political participation. In essence, the printing press expanded the scope and complexity of human social organization, enabling the formation of larger, more abstract communities united by shared access to information and ideas. It laid the foundation for modern information-based societies, demonstrating how communication technology can reshape community dynamics and collective identities. And if you have doubts about this, think about the effort that the church posed in that time to prevent the printing of certain books, things that dictatorship are doing today. So consider the impact of this. Number 10, one of the biggest transformation of human history and also of our planet. The Industrial Revolution and the following urbanization, so 18th and 19th centuries. This period marked a significant shift in human society, fundamentally altering the nature of communities and individual identities. The formation of working class communities, transitioning from rural ones, became a defining feature of this era. As rural populations flocked to industrial centers, new urban communities emerged, bound by shared experiences or factory work, crowded living conditions, and often economic hardship. These communities, by circumstance, develop new and specific cultures, social norms, and political consciousness, laying the groundwork for labor movements and working class solidarity. Simultaneously, the development of new forms of transportation, particularly railways, created more mobile and interconnected societies. This mobility facilitated the exchange of ideas and cultures, broadening people's horizon beyond their immediate localities. However, the most profound impact of industrialization and urbanization was perhaps the shift from the we identity we used to know to the I identity we know today. As cities expanded to accommodate thousands, even millions of inhabitants, the nature of human interactions changed dramatically. In these vast urban landscapes, individuals found themselves surrounded by more people than they could meaningfully engage with, leading to a sense of anonymity and individuality previously unknown in smaller, close-knit communities. This new urban reality fostered an environment where the human subject no longer strictly needed the support of immediate neighbors to meet their needs. Instead, they could rely on unknown people and the personalized relations to fulfill various functions. The local baker, once a known community figure, became replaceable by any number of anonymous bread sellers. The mutual aid system of rural communities gave way to more formalized, impersonal urban services. This shift towards the I identity was further reinforced by the specialization of labor brought about by industrialization. Individuals increasingly define themselves by their specific roles in the industrial machine rather than by their place in a holistic community structure. The factory worker, the clerk, the shop owner, these became primary identities, often replacing traditional community based or family based identities. Does SMARF ring a bell to you? Yet, it would be an oversimplification to suggest that this period was a complete dissolution of community bonds. Rather, it witnessed a transformation in how communities were formed and maintained. New types of communities emerged: professional associations, political parties, social clubs, allowing individuals to form connections based on shared interests or goals rather than mere geographical proximity. The Industrial Revolution and the subsequent urbanization ushered in a new era of community dynamics. It created a tension between the anonymity of urban life and the human need for belonging, between individual identity and collective experience. This tension continues to shape our understanding of community and identity in the modern world as we navigate the complex interplay between our individual self and our role in various overlapping communities. 11. Commercial radio and the recorded music, early 20th century. These innovations revolutionized cultural consumption and community formation. Radio broadcasts and mass produced records created shared cultural experiences on an unprecedented scale, allowing people to engage with the same content simultaneously across vast distances. This fostered new communities by interest based on musical taste and media preferences, transcending geographical and social boundaries. Fans of particular genres or artists formed passionate subcultures, while radio programs created common topics of conversation for millions. This shift in media consumption also influenced communities by identity, as marginalized groups found representation and connection through niche radio stations and music genres. If you think that radio is quite an old technology, well, it's heavily used in developing countries in order to broadcast information about community engagement, about health and safety, about hygiene, about water sanitation, etc., etc. So radio is still playing a pivotal role in our today's community. So we reached the last one before moving to the internet era. And this is very important cornerstone in the history of community. And it regards civil rights and counterculture movements from after the Second World War, so from the 50s. This powerful social movement reshaped the landscape of identity based communities in Western societies and beyond. They exemplified how communities by identity could mobilize for social change using nonviolent protest, legal challenges, and cultural expression to demand rights and respect. Moreover, some, like the civil rights movement, fostered communities by practice around activism, developing strategies that would influence future social movements globally. The civil rights movement created new communities by need, uniting people across racial and social lines in the pursuit of justice. The movement's success in achieving legal reforms and shifting social attitudes demonstrated the power of organized communities to effect systematic change, setting a precedent for other marginalized communities to assert their identities and rights in the public sphere. Other significant examples are the hippie movement in the 60s, 70s that exemplifies communities by interest centered around alternative lifestyles and values. Rejecting consumerism and traditional social norms, hippies form intentional communities based on peace, love, and personal freedom principles. These communities, from urban communities to rural settlements, served as laboratories for alternative social structures, challenging conventional notions of family, work, and spirituality. They demonstrated how shared ideologies could create strong communal bonds even in the face of societal disapproval. If you think the hippies is something in the past and didn't really impact today's society, well, think about how universities worked before 1968 and how they work today, the level of student engagement and the level of relationships between the form of relationship between professors and students. The Black Panther Party is another example, as they represented a powerful evolution of communities by identity, moving beyond the nonviolent approach of the earlier civil rights movement. The Panthers developed a model of community self-reliance and empowerment. Their programs, including free breakfast for children and community health clinics, show how identity-based communities could address their own needs when failed by mainstream institutions. The Panthers fostered a strong sense of black pride and solidarity, influencing cultural expression from fashion to language, and inspiring other marginalized groups to assert their identities and rights. Another very important movement, cultural movement, is the gay liberation movement that started in the 60s and basically opened the road to the LGBTQ plus communities. So, by encouraging individuals to come out, the movement transformed personal identity into a political act, creating communities by circumstance or by identity according to one's perceptions, united by shared experiences of discrimination and the struggle for acceptance. The movement fosters safe spaces, from gay bars to activist organizations where LGBTQ plus individuals could find support and build collective strength. This laid the groundwork for future advances in LGBTQ plus rights and mainstream acceptance. The last example, my favorite, is the techno caravan movement that started in the UK in the 90s. They represented a fascinating evolution in community formation, blending elements of counterculture with emerging electronic music scenes. These mobile, music-centered communities challenge traditional notions of place-based identity, creating temporary autonomous zones at raves and festivals. Participants form intense, if often transient, bonds through shared experience of music, dance, and often drug use. This movement demonstrated how communities by interest could transcend geographical boundaries, creating a sense of global tribe united by musical taste and lifestyle choices. So, we arrive at the end of this session. So, to sum up these last examples, these counterculture movements illustrate the power of shared values, interests, and identities in forming communities outside mainstream social structures. They show how communities can serve as vehicles for social critique, personal exploration, and collective empowerment. This movement also highlights the dynamic nature of community formation, with each responding to and building upon earlier social movements. Moreover, the legacy of these counterculture movements continues to influence contemporary community dynamics, from the environmental consciousness of the hippies to the intersectional approach of today's social justice movements, from the celebration of LGBTQ plus pride to the global electronic music scene. We can trace the impact of these pioneering communities in shaping our current social landscape.